They all
This meeting is who's going to be seeing this, who will be seeing this later on, who'll see it on the YouTube channel. Welcome to the Aperitif concert. My name is Stacey Dyson. I am the head of Tesoro, which is an international poetry organization for women and folks identifying as women. We are, I say this every time. We are, but it's always true. We are beyond blessed to have this particular person with us today. Um, he is one of our newer Tesoro members. We are lucky enough to have Amanda Shea on the mic today. I'm not going to do a bio because like to let people handle their own bios. So I'm just going to say we're really lucky to be here. I'm really excited. Amanda, honey, tell us about yourself.
Hi, Stacy. I am one of the newest DeSoto women. I know that's right. Um, I'm Amanda Shea. I am an artist, an educator, a mentor, a publicist for Brandy Blaze. I'm also a film producer, and I'm also a mom. Like, I'm a whole mom of a 20-year-old and a 16-year-old. I'm also a curator and a host for not only events, but also GBH's Outspoken Saturdays. So that's me in a nutshell.
It's a pretty big nutshell.
I'm trying to make it bigger.
All right. All right. So I will start with this. I always start these the same way with the same question. And you can interpret it however it is you want and answer it the way you feel like you need to answer it. Why poetry and why now?
Why not now? And words are spells. Everything that we have done from beyond time that we can even wrap our minds around, everything was the written word. It was the word. So I feel like poetry to me is not only just therapy, but it's necessary. I think communication is necessary. I think poetry allows me to not only write what I feel as therapy, but it also allows me to release that into the world and be able to share those experiences with other folks, um, as well as allowing folks to utilize what I'm saying as their own healing tool. I think that's really important. And also through body. So, like when you're performing, when you're speaking these words, spirit, your body, everything about it is moving through you. So for me, it started, it started with poetry, which ended up morphing into other creative endeavors. But it always started with writing first, writing.
Okay. So since you've opened that gate, let me swing on it. Oh, what other creative endeavors? What I mean, like I said, I've read your bio. I know that what tell other folks what all else it is you're into.
So as I was saying, like being an educator has been like a complete blessing, and I'll tell you why. One, I love kids. Not only because I have kids, but I love kids, and I feel like they are not just. I believe that children are our future because they are our future, as well as just being more open minded than adults. They still have this like world of imagination where they're like everything is possible, whereas adults are like sometimes they're too realistic or sometimes pessimistic about opening their mind or just seeing things from a new lens. In addition to that, not only do I believe that the kids have the power right now, but they keep me very much grounded to my younger self, which I think is really, really important. And which has also led me to be like, well, what are some things from my younger self that I was maybe like not uh not pursuing because I was scared or thought I wasn't good enough or thought I couldn't be talented enough, whatever the case is. And I think that's what pushed me into going into film, pushed me into incorporating live instrumentation and playing with a band. Like I actually perform poetry with a live full band. I actually just submitted for Tiny Desk 2024 concert, which was huge for me because for to me it was just like a bucket list item. Like I just wanted to do it just to say that I could do it. Because a couple of years ago, Brandy Blaze, who is also my best friend, who I'm a publicist for as well, she was like, "You should apply for this." And I'm like, "Girl, ain't nobody doing poetry on Tiny Desk." You know what I'm saying? Like that was my response because I didn't see it. This year I was like, "Girl, if you don't see something being represented or being having representation, then why not be the representation you hope to see?" So, ironically enough, 2 days before we started filming, Asia Monet was on NPR Tiny Desk as the first spoken word artist to ever be featured on Tiny Desk. And I was just like, this is nuts. Like the timing of everything. I thought I was going to be the first one. I ain't going to hold you. But it was good to see that somebody else had the opportunity and is able to open the door even more so for me to be like, I should be doing this. This is great. So for me, again, I say all that to say it's like fear. When I was a kid, I was very fearful and I lacked a lot of confidence. So working with these kids, getting into these other endeavors, these creative endeavors, I'm no longer fearful. I think art is beautiful and we can go into so many different facets of that, whether it be being an author, having an audio book, um, selling merch, having our own care lines. Like I have my own merch line that's all full of like self-care products. For me, that was like just something that made sense. Like I use natural shea butters. I use oils for as my perfume. Like I make everything. So therefore it was like, well, why wouldn't I sell this? Because I stand by it. So it just made me like kind of open up the possibilities of like, well, what else can I do that I didn't think I could do or would do because of this fear or this insecurity? It's a long answer.
It was a big question. I mean,
That's a big question.
that's fine. What is your least favorite part about being on stage?
Oof. My least favorite part about being on stage. I don't think I have a least favorite part, to be honest. I think the stage is whatever world you want to make it. So every part of it is my favorite. Because I'm allowing folks to kind of come into my world and see what it's like to be, inside my home, which is my body, in my emotions, have this experience of when I first wrote the piece to like what it's sounding like now. And sometimes that could be, you know, uh, I could be healed from the poem already or not. It depends on how I'm still feeling at that particular time. I think the if I had to say the least favorite part of any of this, maybe not necessarily the stage, I would say the industry is constantly being compared or feeling as though um, people view you as a threat or competition. I think for me, that's the least. Like, I hate that part of this industry. It can get real nasty. People can become very competitive. Um, that part I don't like. Also, like the social media aspect of it, of constantly promoting and putting yourself out there and content, content, content. We live in a society that's like, well, if your videos aren't up, then you don't exist, type of thing. And it's like that's the part of this stuff that I don't like. Is very much like the industry aspect of it. The networking with the who's and the going to the, you know what I mean? Like that's not really my personality. I like being a homebody. I don't mind being ripping and running in the streets, but I like it to be within good company. And sometimes, as much as I'm trying to protect my energy, I don't always know what I'm going into, and I also don't know who all gonna be there. And I also don't know what the vibe is gonna be. I don't even know if there's gonna be food or if my parking gonna be validated. You feel me? So I think that's the part of the industry that I don't necessarily like, or people being like, who you remind me of, and it's like I get it. We live in a society where we're taught from birth to basically categorize things and put things into labels and boxes. So I understand why. At the same time, I just, if one more DJ plays Erica Badu before I hit the stage, and I love Miss Badu, you know what I'm saying? I really do, but I'm just not her. Or, the constant, like, oh my God, you remind me of like Lisa Bonet from The Cosby Show or Jasmine Guy, like Whitley. It's like comparisons like that. And like, don't get me wrong, these are beautiful, beautiful women and they're gorgeous. I'm sure they're great people as well. I don't know them personally, so I can only just say, like, I assume that they're great people. At the same time, I'm like Amanda Shea, like I'm me. And I try not to compare people or artists to other artists. I may say, your cadence reminds me of, this kind of sounds like it's reminiscent of, but I try not to say, like, oh, you're like Drake or like Maya Angelou or like Langston Hughes or like Amanda Gorham. I try not to say stuff like that because everybody is powerful within their own existence. We don't have to compare. My mom used to say that all the time, be like, I can't wait till you're like Maya Angelou and you move past all this trauma and you start talking about the joy in your work and your life. And I'm just like, there'll never be another Maya Angelou. Like, I'm not even trying to strive to be like her, but I love her work. um, she's definitely one of the people that I'm inspired by. At the same time, there will never be another Maya Angelou. So that's the part I feel like I don't like about being like in this industry. But the stage is my playground. It's home for me. I no longer feel shy going up there and giving people all of me because there was a point in time where I felt like I was taking on characteristics or performance s qualities of other people that I saw and trying to dress myself in them because I loved their work so much that I thought I needed to kind of like be like that. After year 2 of my career, I realized that I felt fraudulent and I wasn't really happy or excited or satisfied with performing. And that's when everything started to change. And I was like, well, girl, why aren't you liking it? And it's like, well, it doesn't feel real. Why doesn't it feel real? Because you're not being your authentic self. You're showing these people what you think that they want to see from you, as opposed to just being yourself. If they love you, they love you. If they don't, they don't. That's okay. But at least at the end of the day, you're not only being yourself, but you can feel good about how you did on that stage because you were your authentic self, regardless of if you slipped on a word, regardless of what the performance is like, you were you. That's it. Give them you.
Talk to me a little bit about inspiration.
Hmm. I feel like I get inspired every single day. I used to say this phrase like, I fall in love every day with somebody. Like, I do. And when I say in love, I don't mean like, oh my God, I want to marry this person. I mean like, I really fall in love with people's souls, their spirits on a day to day basis, which is a beautiful thing. And I hope that that never goes away because people are beautiful. Um, so I feel like I'm inspired a lot. However, one thing that inspires me a lot is traveling. Like, I feel like I have to get away from my environment and experience new things in order to be inspired.
Girl, you are
Staying,
preaching to the choir.
cause child, sitting, being in I love Boston. Boston is filled. Like, I'm very, 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 very blessed to be in a city that not only supports their artists in the arts and culture community, but also in a flux of multifaceted, talented people. most of the artists that live here in Boston, they do multiple things. It's not just poetry. They rap, they sing, they photography, video. It's all of the above. So I'm constantly like fed from the city. However, sometimes it's hard because you know everybody in the city, or you think you know, it's an illusion. But because Boston's small. So it's like you think you know everybody in the city. So it's like you feel like it's kind of like a rinse and repeat, like you're seeing the same things when in fact I don't feel like it's that. I feel like it's because we're around it all the time, so it gives off sometimes like it's the same thing. So when I leave and then I come back, I always feel rejuvenated. I fall back in love with the space that I'm in. I fall back in love with the community that I'm in, as well as have an appreciation for where I just came from and that being its own experience and whatever feelings and emotions that I experienced while traveling. So I think that's like really, really important. Reading has always been fundamental to me. I've been a huge avid reader since I was a kid and could read. So like books are always a great inspiration to draw from. But I feel like I'm kind of easy to inspire to a certain degree, even though I know some people who would be like, Amanda's a huge critic of art, so she probably isn't inspired. She's probably hard to satisfy. It's not that. It's just I like to take apart things and see different types of layers. So sometimes my critiques come off as if I don't really like the work, when in fact I actually love the work. And if I didn't love it, I wouldn't even take the time to critique it or try to break it down. But I love museums. I love music videos. I feel like music videos nowadays are not as great as like the 1900s that I grew up in, where they had way more just imagination and way more creativity. I feel like CGI and technology sometimes kind of ruins that. But I do watch a lot of music videos. I'm a documentary lover. I don't really watch TV like that per se. I couldn't tell you what a top show is right now or anything. But what I could do is I could tell you, how long an octopus lives for its lifespan. And I could also tell you about global warming
Okay,
and
I got to stop you there because now I'm dying of curiosity.
so I watched this beautiful documentary that's about an hour and a half, and I swear people are gonna be like, she's talking about this again. I'm not making any money about talking about this documentary, but it was really good. And I am like, I'm a Cancer rising. Yes, the octopus is my teacher. That's exactly Marissa, you seen it? Yo, what an amazing documentary. First of all, octopuses only live for like a year. It's like 365 days. It's really nuts. Like, who knew their life was that short? But it was just a beautiful documentary. I don't want to get too much into it, but basically this man chronicles this octopus's life. It doesn't sound I'm hearing it back. I'm like, what would make me want to watch this? It doesn't sound interesting, but I'm telling you, if you are a visual person, you really enjoy cinematography, you like really good storytelling, you want to feel like an emotional connection, if you like nature and underwater, this is the documentary for you because it was beautiful, like absolutely stunning. Like the first opening scene, I just like stumbled upon it. I was like, I don't know what this is, but it's a documentary. All it has to say is documentary. And I'm like, click. And I sat there and watched it. I actually watched it twice because it was so good. But yeah, I'm a documentary person. And that makes sense because I am a film producer of a documentary. But I love documentaries. Like I feel like knowledge is power. So do I have like guilty pleasure shows like Euphoria? Like whenever it comes back, I would love to watch that again. Hopefully in 2025. But it has to have a good storyline in order for me to even want to, be committed at this point. And I like Abbott Elementary. I do watch that from time to time. I'm not up to date, which my friends hate because they can never talk to me about it. But I do like Quinta Brunson. She's one of my favorite writers. I've been following her career for a really long time. Tayana Taylor is actually making her directorial debut, so I'm looking forward to that. And Ava DuVernay, anything with Ava DuVernay is like a hit for me. So Origin, if you have not seen it, please go see it. Really good movie. And It was another movie I just watched too that was really good, black film. It's some I can't remember it, but if I do, yes. I just try to watch things with a purpose. Something that like either talks about history or something that outlines something I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, all that being said, now comes what, for me is the fun portion of the show because I get to stop talking and listen to you do your thing. So for the next 30 minutes, Amanda Sugar, stage is yours.
Yay. Thank you. Stacy, I love you. When I realized how you could write, sis, you did not. You was so humble and you're so impressive. So I'm just honored to be here. I'm honored to be a part of this. Just any type of space we can share together. I'm just really, really blessed and honored to share space with you. Your writing is incredible. With that being said, I have been writing a lot of new poems. Um, and I don't know if I'm ever gonna like perform them on stage. I'm kind of weird like that. I am releasing a book. We do love Stacy, Marissa, and we love you too. And Shaki, I see you in the building, so thank you for pulling up and watching this like live. This is so dope. Um, I've been writing a lot of new poems. I have a book coming out. I keep saying fall, and then I said spring, and now it's giving like summer. I don't know, but basically, I've been writing a lot of poems when I was in quarantine, like a lot of us have since 2020, and one day I was just going through my notebook and I wanted to kind of like reflect on what I was doing and what I was writing about. And I was like, hmm, what do I want to put in this book? Like, what do I want to do with these poems? Do I even want to have a book? So I'm just going through them and I counted out 100 poems that don't need editing, that can go just as they are. And I was realizing there was like a thread in all of them, which was like some of them were like family, some of them were love, some of them were about gender, some of them were about sexuality. And I was like, what would this look like? Because I'm never going to perform these. So they're all the pieces that are going into the book. The book is named Pieces of Shea, and it will be coming out really, really soon. I just read something in the chat. Hold on. It went by really quick, but I think Marissa said it. Oh, yay, book. If you need help publishing. Thank you, Marissa. I am going to ask you for help because I am working with a publisher right now. So I'm really excited about it. But by any event, I wrote this piece 2 days ago. And I normally don't do this. Like, I normally would never give out pieces that are this fresh. But y'all are here. It's a Saturday. It's March 23rd. It's International Women's Month. Why not, right? So this is talking about my dad, and I don't really have a prequel. I was talking about my dad the other night and how he loved Forrest Gump as a movie. And right as I said one of the lines that he used to repeat, this poem came immediately. I got a download and I turned to my phone because I did not have a piece of paper next to me. I turned to my phone and I was like, no. And then I went to go put it down, and Spirit was like, pick that up. And I was like, okay, okay, okay. So this is what happened. Or I should say, this is what came out of it. I said I was going to do a long prequel, but there it was, y'all. My dad. I learned I learned how to do voices from my dad, like mimic really. He loved Forrest Gump and would walk around randomly shouting, I was running, in his best Tom Hanks voice. That's when I realized I mimicked him a lot. Not just in the ways a daughter would idolize her father to do anything to make him proud, but also as a woman. I mean, I have always been masculine, but dressed in femininity. So I thought if I was the breadwinner, then my partner would have to be the knife. Well, according to my dad, that would have been my mother, the knife wielding heartbreaker who would easily turn his bread into cheese. My dad would watch and yet still provide. Over time, I knew it was pride, but ego can drive a man mad, turning him into something that no daughter could imagine, a monster. And so bitter, he threw her away. I would adopt this type of service, picking up and leaving like trash on every Thursday morning, mourning the absence of my little girlhood and embracing my entire manhood, a shield that would block any type of knife to cut me. In fact, I left baggage on front lawns strewn from tree branches in avoidance of being seen, cut through. Rather than zipping myself open to be seen, rather than stitched, burned, and bruised from a man who showed me everything I wanted to be, but also showing me I can't trust anyone who will unwillingly show their own reflection, even if it is of himself. So I learned how to mimic my father until I realized he was just the ventriloquist who needed a puppet to be able to really be authentically him. That's what I got. Um, so yeah, that was about my dad. I don't know how he would feel with seeing all that or hearing all that, but that's just how I feel. I also wrote this about poets. There's this big thing about going viral on social media. Um, it's a really big thing. I hear a lot of the time that, I don't post enough content. And what I want to tell people is the reason why, in case you don't know, maybe this is the first time I'm saying it publicly, but you have to realize that like artists really do have to invest in themselves. And when I go to performances, shows, whatever have you, I pay a videographer to film me. So to have that videographer then cut that up and then put that out on social media for free in hopes to go viral is a lot. Like I am investing in myself, so the gag is that I want to see that investment come back in some way, shape, or form, right? Not just in likes or views, but monetary, right? But then also, there's a difference between energy, you know, putting your stuff out on Instagram or even just seeing this right now. You may like this program and be like, I want to go to one of her shows. When you come to the show, it's going to be a different energy. There's no way you could feel my real energy through frequencies and transmitted waves that are disconnecting what we can really feel when we're in the same room. So I say all that to say, like, I don't put out a lot of content on social media also because if it goes viral, then now I'm obligated or expected to now keep that momentum going. My life doesn't work like that. I got kids, okay? And the way my life is set up, I just don't have the capacity and or the time to keep up on that type of level as far as producing that much content. I'm a people person. I want to feel you. So if I spend more time going out in the world and traveling to feel people, 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to be in front of the camera trying to get people to feel me. Does that make sense? So, with that being said, mad people are calling me at this time. It's so crazy. I'm on a Zoom, y'all. With that being said, I wrote this piece and it's no shade to anybody in particularly. It was just how I felt. I'm tired of watching you niggas fraudulent. The way you spit is mimicked from what you think is the shit now. I'm not knocking nobody's craft, but I actually value the skills, the mastery, the time it takes to smooth out rough materials. I'm tired of listening to the same metaphors, the copy and paste TikTok sound bites got you fiending for likes. They went viral, so you now running around sick, thinking you slick because the nigga you watch lives overseas and we can't oversee their work. Fragrant, how you walk around revitalizing plagiarism. Like, why y'all do that? The similes are similar to the same writers you idolize. That's all I got. So none of these have titles. This is a lot of new material. And I wanted to work it out with you all today because I just feel like it's important to be honest. Like, I don't have all like the answers, Sway. I really don't. But I'm also in a space of like, I'm not sad girl no more. It's mostly like a lot of my poems are like really sad and gut wrenching and about childhood and, a lot of the social issues and social injustices I feel like we as Black people, as queer people go through every day. But I'm not there anymore. I'm more now in a space of like, what is like the optics around me? What does society look like around me now? What's my perception? And then like, what's my real opinion about it? And then voicing that. Yeah. So I'm gonna read a new one. It's called a snake. Or snake, I should say. I've been working in institutions and been working with a lot of different people um, for several different things, whether it be events or shows or whatever have you. And uh one of the things I want to name about that is people think like once you're in like the space and like these things are happening for you that it's just like great and you don't go through nothing and you and working with everybody is amazing. No, that's not always the friggin' case. So I wanted to write a piece that talks about that. A snake will eat its body to save itself. My supervisor claims they're a leader, yet will lead us to our own demise. You see, some people need to be the face, covered up in progressive agendas, but self centered in thought and strategy, tragically allowing others to falsely be led blind faith until the bobblehead breaks. Cracks under the pressure of only being a mass, now forced to speak loud and wrong, leaving folks confused in their team, wearing red noses because they allowed the snake skin to shed and reveal its dark underbelly. So now they've succumbed to its venom. The snake desperately tries to eat you all in front of an audience with no shame. But when it's all said and done, the results were to be anticipated as we watched the snake eat its own body to save its head. So, this poem was really about exactly verbatim what I said. I have a leader of a team that constantly wants to just be the leader, but doesn't want to be progressive in anything, and will allow us to amplify this mission, knowing that we're being led under a leadership that's not really leading anything but us into the ground. And as much as we tell this leader all of the things, they're still very much on their high horse to believe that no, I'm doing the right thing and you all are my subordinates, so you should just listen. I feel like all of us can go through or feel like they can relate to that because I'm sure we've all had bosses who think they know it all and actually, in fact, don't know nothing and will drag you to the ground or drag the team and the company into the ground just because they want to be big headed and egotistical. So that was that poem. Um, this is kind of fun. I feel really vulnerable because I'm like, I've never, I haven't read these out loud to nobody. So, yay, this is great. Okay. This is called Grieving. It's very short, but I wrote it really, really recently. I want to say like maybe 25 days ago. Grief is like someone turning off the lights and you're trying to see your way through. Frantic, running your hands down memory walls, searching for the light switch to turn everything bright again. Anxious and panicked, our bodies respond, slowing us in our tracks, tracking down pieces of your old self, understanding you'll never be the same. The new you is starting empty in darkness, and you're just trying to hold on. So that's called grieving. Um, as people know, I've been grieving for the last 2 years very heavily. Not only have I lost my husband, but my godmother, and as of late, and a really good friend of mine, but as of late, my stepfather as well. So it's just been a very heavy couple of years, to say the least. Um, and I think once my husband transitioned, I think that's what started. I know that's what started me to just see the world in a different light, have more grace, and understand that time is really, really precious. However, grief is not linear and it can hit at any point in time. This is called Gemini. I actually named this after one of my friends who's also a poet. Shout out Gemini Blue. We were on the phone having a conversation about love and soulmates, and this is what came out of it. We're looking for rainbows in each other instead of seeing the storms. Air and water go together real bad until it's a hurricane, a tornado. We wrap ourselves into a cocoon that's so tight neither of us can grow, so we start battling, bursting our nest at the seams, seemingly causing chaos and toxicity that we stunt our growth, or one of us does grow. Now, jealous hues of green and blues are sewn into each other's wings. We can only soar for so high. Butterflies float in their air, but caterpillars can only crawl. We racing to fix each other. We can't fulfill our destinies. Twin flames, inhaling hell. We're chasing rainbows instead of seeing the storms. So that was mostly about one of my partners. And I just constantly, being very much focused on like the bad in our relationship more than the good, and understanding that we're very much like twin flames and we're leading the same life but can't see outside of our own selves selfishly enough to be able to love each other even through the imperfections. Wow. I've been really in my feelings. This one is, you can tell that like I've been meeting some of my idols in real life, and it's been a very, very cool experience and like a blessing. Like what? I met Tongo, I met Mahogany Brown, Prentice Powell, Obi West, Queen Sheba. Um, gosh, so many people. Jay Ivy, Black Chakra. Just really dope people that I've looked up to or admired their writing and their creativity. And I won't say who, but it was definitely not somebody I've already named. And yeah, I met somebody recently, and I was like, their energy's kind of way different than what I expected. And it made me think about like idolization and how we like put people on pedestals when we really don't know them. And what is my relationship with that? Like, I'm gonna infamously throw this out because I feel like Kanye West is somebody that like a lot of people do this with, where it's like they can't separate the art from the artist. And it made me start thinking, like, am I one of those people that can't separate the art from the artist? And I'm just like, I don't know, because should it depend on like what they do? Should it depend on their personality? Should it depend on what their values are? Like, how do we do this? So, after thinking about it for a really long time, and also this nasty ass industry, I wrote this poem about Hollywood, and it's called Hollywood. We idolize celebrities in Hollywood, deified these people who are only trying to fuck us, call it a casting couch, to being an outcast for saying no, or worse, doing so and it be used as a carrot. You Alice, and this ain't Wonderland, and it ain't wonderful, R. Kelly. It's full of little wanderers who lost their souls to a land that was built on sexual exploitation and fame, and Todd could tell you about those bridges. See you at the crossroads don't mean what you thought it did, and no one ages well. Especially when you a child being on a poster board claiming poster boards like garland, to adulthood, posting you on feeds you no longer eating good, and all you wanted was a break and fast to be a star when all they truly wanted was your light, shine you up and to then sell you the real auction block they made you. Therefore, they can break you, vilify you in the media, and not for your medium, but for all your mistakes and shortfalls when they have been pulling the strings and you're back broke from the control. And now you back broke, wandering around in the land of the lost, trying to find your way back to the light. Sad thing is, nothing changes. It just resets at the end. The man behind the curtain awes, a never ending story like a thriller, and somewhere over the rainbow, you'll hope to land. Hollywood. That's all I got. Um, yeah, I think everything that's coming out in the news right now with a lot of famous people that we looked up to and stuff doing some really shady shitty shit. And in that case, no, I can't separate the artist from the art because the artist creates the art that we are consuming. And if the artist is immorally imbalanced, um, lacks integrity, um, is just not consuming from a place of light, or creating from a place of light, then why would I want to consume that art? And how can I say I can't separate the art from the artist when in fact that's the artist's work and they're a reflection of what they're producing? So no, I can't separate the art from the artist anymore. Not to say that I know every artist that I listen to or that we could say we know everybody personally, but Puff Daddy don't get no play on my radio, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Um, Brandy, I gotta call y'all back because I am on a Zoom, child.
Oh shit. Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
That's my best friend. She's been blowing up my text messages, and because I'm not responding, she called. You see this? I love her. Brandy Blaze. I only have 7 minutes left, but I do want to read a couple more, like really quick pieces. It's probably like 5 minutes because I just answered the phone. But we were talking about books earlier, and I was realizing that books were my first friends ever before actual people. So I wrote this poem. I was always a loner. Books were my first friends, people. They tend to scare me. Crystal balls. I stare into souls, human windows. I shield myself from spirits that take up space in the flesh. Walking onions. I tried peeling back their layers. Each one made me cry, manipulated my senses. I sensed it. Intensely used incense to cleanse. Sulfur compounds are too dense. It seeps throughout my pores, pouring into folks leaves you empty. Isolation is my only resolve. Um, I don't have titles for some of these, but that to me is probably one of my favorite newest ones and probably my shortest ones, just because books were my best friends, and over time, due to a lot of my childhood, I became like a people pleaser, and then realized I was like always out and about and around people all the time and didn't know how to really like go back into myself and retreat into myself and pour back into myself. And that poem is just a constant reminder of like, girl, you've always been like a loner girl. Like, why, since when did you need people? And like, what is your relationship with people? Why did you become a people pleaser? And now that you are no longer that, like, what do you see on the outside? So that was that. Um, I'm reading one more before I do my last big one, which is something that I know off the top of my head, and some of you have probably heard if you've come to my show. Um, but this was inspired by someone who said that I see a lot of potential in people, especially when it comes to like relationships. So I played with that, and this came out. He said, I was like Manning, seeing the potential in niggas. I'm the coach. I could take you to the next level. Most of these niggas should still be on the bench. Matter of fact, they should have never been drafted. Their stats were falsified, drafted on a piece of paper like credentials, and yet I focused on their potential, not on how I trained them or how they trained, but how I could train them, run them around the track, cycling through the same type of recruits, expecting different results. They say, never blame the recruit, but blame the coach. So, yeah, these are very short. I write really long poems. So I'm trying to play with like the writing style of what I'm used to. Instead of doing 3 to 5 minute poems, I've been trying to do anywhere between 45 seconds to a minute and a half. And yeah, I also heard about this new type of poem, or maybe it's new to me. It's called a palinone poem, a palinone poem, which is basically a poem that you read frontwards and can also read backwards, which is really interesting. Did I say that right? Yes, a palindrome poem. It's hard to say. Um, Yes, a palindrome poem. And I'm not classically trained in spoken word. I've just been writing all my life. So terminology and, writing styles from what I've done with my own research, I don't know all of them. So with that being said, I thought that was really cool and I'm going to challenge myself to do that. But that's not what I'm doing right now. I'm gonna leave y'all with social media because we've talked about it a lot, and I would be remiss if I said not to follow me on social media on Instagram. I have a TikTok and all that, but Instagram is probably the most preferred platform I'm on, and you can follow me at Amanda Shea all day, and that's Shea like the butter, SHEA. With that being said, this is social media. Stacy, I love you. Thank you so much for this platform. To everybody who has joined us in real time, I can see you on here. Thank you so much. And thank you for putting all the love in the chat. Please follow. Just just like how you say it, Tesoro women. Like, I just like how you say it, Stacey. It's just so beautiful. But yes, follow them as well. Follow Stacey. And if you are somebody who identifies as a woman out there and is a poet, writer extraordinaire, please consider joining us and becoming a member. We'd love to have you. With that being said, social media. Social media apps got you losing reality. Didn't subscribe to desensitization, confusion, fake news, and all these comments. How do I cancel it? Before it cancels me, I thought this was a tool. Instead, I'm being drilled, picked at, and screwed over my thoughts, images, and my image. When did this become high school? Snub for prom queen. The snob always wins, subbed in statuses. I remember the bathroom stalls marked up. Now it's bodies. Not like the subways in Harlem. Actual bodies. Everybody want to be a Barb and join a team. I still have PTSD. Watching George Floyd's death changed me, triggered me. How many triggers can be pulled without having to count the bullets? Brianna can't tell us. The neighbor's walls speak louder than her voice. Another black human silence in the dead of night. Protect black women is a hashtag. We are conditioned to put a pound sign on tragedies. Maybe it should be a stop sign. Bright red so it can be read and not just seen, but we read people fulfill full of negativity. I'm questioning myself. My vibration is too low, too slow to tap in on the bigger picture. Waves of hate can penetrate even the deepest of waters with a 30-second soundbite. Click, then debate. It's faster than a chamber. Why aren't these monitored? Hey, Stacy, how long is a Facebook jail sentence anyway, sis? Is this reality or a social experiment, a play of sorts, where you could be whatever character while being judged on your character? I hate it in this world. I lucid dream often, traveling vividly, opening portals that allow me to feel safe where accountability and evolution meet. The dark web doesn't lurk here. It's too busy trafficking children and women in this realm. I'm surrounded by my own shadows. We don't play games. We go hard at work to build capes so big, made of Teflon, no cap. Shells would bounce off. No puncture wounds or sharpened tongues could pierce me. I'd be at peace. Instead of overthinking about content, I'd be content with self. My emotions couldn't be altered by the pretentious constructs of how to live, be, and breathe. Competition and comparisons creates division. Common denominators, we calling people out instead of calling them in. DMs replacing conversations. No need to be direct. No desire to hit someone's line. People arguing, blogging, gossiping, rumors, unhealthy consumption, adopting trends that lose weight, momentum dies. But not suicidal thoughts. Constant battle turmoil from turning to a device addicted. It's a vice that releases hormones that causes the body to react in pleasure, Twitter fingers racing like heartbeats, perpetuating ideologies of a system that is set up to destroy confidence and feelings. And guess what? It all comes at a price. You can't buy self esteem from an ad or an app, but if you show ID, you can be verified. Blue check marks is your validation, unlocking it. All of us have super egos. We got to keep our egos balanced, take breaks, and fast. Social media. Thank you all. That's my time. I appreciate y'all
I
so
could not
much.
have loved that more. Y'all open up your mic and throw this lady some roses. That was absolutely fantastic, Amanda. Thank you so
Let's go,
much.
Amanda! Woo-hoo!
Amazing
I love
setting
you.
as always, Amanda. Always killing it. Thank you.
Thank you, Trev. Thank you. I love y'all for real. Thank you so much for being here for real. For real, for real. This was amazing.
That I have been waiting for this all week. Was not
Same,
disappointed.
Stacy.
No, I wouldn't be. Amanda, again, thank you so much. Um,
Thank you.
for those of you who as I said, will see this on YouTube later, and for those of you who are here, so you can spread the word. Our next edition of Aperitif Concerts will be on the 26th. We'll be hearing the wit and wisdom of Noelia Serna. And then, all y'all know, keep your eyes open for what Tesoro is up to in the incoming months. Amanda, thank you again, because I know what your schedule is like, girl. Bless
Thank
your heart for doing
you.
this for us.
Stacy,
Um,
anything for you. Anytime you need me, I am here. My schedule could be crazy all it want to be, but for you, clear. Whatever
oh,
you need, whatever you
thank you,
want.
darling.
I
I appreciate that. I really do. So,
appreciate you.
um, because we're always messing with
Everything.
time zones, and because I can't keep time zone in my head to save my life, I've stopped messing with those things. So I will just say, wherever you are, in whatever part of the world, in whatever season of the day, have an absolutely fantastic rest of the weekend. I won't say stay out of trouble because we're poets and we don't know how to do that. So
Good
I will
trouble.
just
Good trouble.
say, good trouble. I will just say, I love you and try not to get arrested before 5 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Love
Y'all take
y'all.
it
Oh my God,
light, and
Marissa,
I will
I
see
can't wait to
you.
see you in September. Yes, New Mexico. Yes,
Yeah, we're
bye.
gonna cut up in New Mexico. That's just gonna
I
happen.
cannot
That's just a thing.
wait. I cannot wait. And I don't need a
I'm so
passport for that.
excited.
So
Anyways,
excited.
good. Y'all have a fantastic rest of the day, and I will see you somewhere around the block. Bye bye.
Bye, y'all.